You know, I had the great opportunity to travel to my good friend Minnie Lou Bradley's sale, and we have two wonderful interns with us, Caitlin and Sarah, and my son Quana went with us, and I asked them, I said, I want you to go pick bulls that you think will be the most valuable bulls today. And they did a great job, and they went and looked at the bulls and such, and I'll pick on my son Quana, and I said, what do you have, son? And he gave me the two lots, and one of them was the high-selling bull, and one of them was ultimately, certainly in the top 3 or 4. And I said, well, did you look at them? He said, yeah, they're fine. And I said, well, how did you pick those, son? And he said, those are the ones that make me the most money. I said, why is that? Well, they have the best calving knees. They have the most competitive growth. They most have the most value to that growth from a marbling muscle standpoint. And you know, they look fine, they walk fine, Dad. I said, well, were they the best looking bulls here? He said, no, they are. He said, what difference does it make? Why wouldn't you choose the ones that make you the most money? And I have to admit, I said, well, you're not asleep all the time when you're with me, is that right? And form follows function, and it's a given that these cattle can walk and get around and have a pleasing phenotype. But I often go back to my main mentor, Henry Gardiner, and he's like, give them a job description, you know, make them be born alive, make them have a lot of early growth, make them quit growing. If it's a steer, you know, hang up a value-added carcass. His sister needs to replicate the process in your environment. And he said, Mark, what difference does it make as long as they fulfill the job description? And when I look at phenotype, I mean, I judged for Kansas State University. And I'll be boastful, we were good. It was expected that we were good. It's kind of like Kansas State football. You know, a lot of people's hopes and dreams live with that. And I think what differentiated for me phenotype, I mean, we need to be able to understand form and function and how these cattle get around and apply and deliver the genetics. But that's a given. And I think what I was able to learn and separate from some of my friends that truly believe that this animal is superior just because I laid my eyes on there and I very logically defended by my observations why this animal is better than this animal. And we took a lot of pride in being able to describe that and describe it accurately as much as we could with our visual appraisal. But once again, I'll go back to Henry Gardiner's, all of the records he kept through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. From 1964 to 1980, he was trying to do all he could possibly do to change the pounds in the right package that were being harvested off of our ranch. 1964, 10-month-old weaned calf, 523 pounds. Take all the subsequent years up to 1980, still 523 pounds. How did we select those bulls? How did Henry select those bulls? No different than anybody else. They won a purple ribbon. They were my buddy's bull. They won a feeding, an eating contest at a bull test. But all in all, it did not measure genetic differences. So oftentimes my friends, I've got friends all over, and then a lot of them were from my judging team days. And that's very, very important, and that's a given. If they can't walk, if they can't reproduce, we arrange for their demise, and they'll be gone. And so the choices that we make, and the choices that we need to make, is take the form and function and the phenotype and apply it with the cattle. As Quana would say, pick the ones that make you more money. That's what we do.